All right, welcome back here. This is episode 10 of my Chicago White Sox rebuild series. We are in the 2028 playoffs, having just, spoilers, defeated the Toronto Blue Jays 2-1 in the wild card series and advancing on to face the Houston Astros here. They went 90 and 72 compared to our 88 and 74, so this should be a fairly even matchup. Taking a look at their team here, they've got Hunter Brown leading their rotation. He will go in game one. Had an excellent season, 2.86 ERA, 4.6 WAR. And Mike Burrows looks good as well. Nick Pivetta and Christian Javier is their fourth pitcher, who looks a little below average, but still not a slouch by any means. They have a good-looking bullpen with Johan Duran closing for them, 3.3 WAR as a closer. Aroldis Chapman as a setup man, along with Phil Matone. And then, the rest of this bullpen ERA under 4 as well. So, not going to get any easier if we do knock their starter out of the game. We're going to need our offense to show up in this one, as their offense looks pretty potent as well. Cam Smith had a great season, 6.3 WAR. He's come into his own as a great player. That's rough to see as a Cubs fan. If you recall, he did get traded by the Cubs to the Astros for Kyle Tucker, along with Isaac Paredes and Hayden Wesneski. And speaking of Kyle Tucker, look who's back on the Astros in 2028. He opted out, or Dodgers. He opted out in 2027, rejected their qualifying offer, and ended up signing a 4-year contract with the Astros. So he's back with them for several more seasons. The Dodgers had him playing center field, curiously, so maybe he was not a fan of that. But he had a great season in Houston. Still a very dangerous hitter in 2028. Carlos Correa had a good season after returning to the Astros a few years ago. Putting up very solid numbers. Yordan Alvarez, definitely a dangerous hitter, 2.8 WAR as a DH with an OPS plus of 162. And Bo Naylor, solid catcher for them. Roque Reggio, Jake Myers, Jake McCarthy, Spencer Torkelson. So once you get past those first few guys, not like a murderer's row there, but a very solid lineup all around, and definitely a team that you can understand why they won 90 games. I imagine their strength lies mainly in their starter pitching and their bullpen, but their bats, they finished second in batting WAR, so not bad by any means. But we have the lineup to face them here. The only real difference is that Dollander moves to the starting rotation, and he will start game one here for us. Still going to go with a 12-man pitching staff. I like having the flexibility, I think, for this. I think with Mizorowski and Taylor, we can get away with the 12-man staff, given that those guys can work multiple innings for us. Didn't even have to use Iglesias or Whitlock in the series against Toronto. I think, and that was with a 12-inning game in there. So I think that we'll be okay with 12 men in the pitching staff, because out of the guys that would possibly not make it onto the roster here, basically these 4 at the bottom, Luis Lara I like as a defensive replacement and pinch runner. Joey Ortiz can play multiple positions as a defensive replacement. and then Baldwin and Moore both get the start against and can hit well against left-handed pitching. They don't have any left-handed starters, but if we need a pinch hitter badly against one of their lefty arms, that could definitely come into play here. As you can see, Moore and Torrens are by far our best hitters against lefties, but we've definitely got several guys here. Baldwin and even Ortiz have a slight edge against Antonacci, Teal, and DeLauder against left-handed pitching. So, with that said, let's get into game number 1. Chase Dollander will take the mound for us here. We will be in Houston. First 2 games in Houston, game 3 and 4 in Chicago, and game 5, if necessary, will be in Houston. So, let's get into it. All right, here are your starting lineups for game number 1. I already kind of went through the Astros starting lineup here. Correa, interestingly, playing hurt for the next 4 days. We'll see if that sprained knee affects his defense at all. If you go by the matchups here, we do have better matchups in 5 out of the 9 spots here. I don't think that really means much, especially when their advantages here at the 3 and 4 spot are Cam Smith and Yordan Alvarez, who at least offensively are more of a threat than Luis Robert Jr. and Colson Montgomery. Granted, Robert Jr. had a great season, but a lot of that was due to his defense. So, and Jake Myers in center field is not a slouch by any means. He put up 1.1 WAR, and that is almost solely on the back of his defense. So, it should be an interesting matchup. Let's get into game number 1 here. As we head to, what is it? It's not Minute Maid Field. I believe it's Daikon Field now in Houston. Hunter Brown on the mound. And he grounds out to the pitcher for out number 1. No, he beats out the throw. So that is a base hit for Naylor. But that should be a pop out for Shanuel. Robert Jr. into center field, and that hangs up enough that Myers can make the catch. Montgomery. It's that one fairly well to right field, but playable for Tucker. So we strand a base runner as Dollander will go to work here, facing Kyle Tucker leading off for the Astros. And he puts that into center field, fairly deep, but playable for Luis Robert Jr. Roque Reggio. Hits that to Robert Jr. Fairly deep, but playable. And Cam Smith strikes out. So Dollander, 1-2-3 inning. Antonacci for us will take ball 4. So leadoff runner is on. Antonacci is a threat to steal with Marte at the plate. And he does go. But the throw is late. And Marte, 3-0 pitch, taking all the way for ball 4. So 2 on and no outs here for Chase DeLauder. Let's see if we can do some damage here in the second. DeLauder looks to bunt, but foul. I don't love that. I should look at our game strategy settings because, he basically does the same thing, swinging away and moves the runners over with potentially... I basically don't like bunting. It's giving them an out to move runners over, as that's a wild pitch. So moving the runners over definitely has an advantage sometimes in the form of a wild pitch. So Torren strikes out there. So without moving the runners over, we would not have scored a run. But it's It's a trade-off. It depends on your situation, and especially with the bottom of our order up, I don't love the bunt there. I'd rather see DeLauder swinging away because Teal and Torin throughout the season have not been great hitters. Teal was a great hitter in the series against Toronto, though, so don't necessarily mind that. Either way, we have a 1-0 lead right now as Naylor will step in. And he will take ball 4. So that's the first base runner allowed for the Astros here. As Torkelson puts that in play, that could be 2. No. Montgomery goes over to first. Oh, we had 2 outs anyway. Okay, never mind. That will not be 2. That would be impossible. So Naylor, 1 for 1, pops up. Shanuel hits that well into right field, but right at Tucker as he catches it on the warning track there. Robert Jr. puts that one into play, but that should be playable for Smith, and that's a 1-2-3 inning. So still 1-0 here. Dollander goes back to work against Jake McCarthy, who hits a little bloop into center, but that is playable for Luis Robert Jr. Jake Myers, not known for his bat, and he strikes out there. Kyle Tucker hits that well, but playable for Luis Robert Jr. And it is still a 1-0 game here as Colson Montgomery hits that a mile high and to Kyle Tucker as he makes the catch for out number 1. Antonasi puts that into play. Tough play, but made by the pitcher Brown to Alvarez. Alvarez curiously playing first in this game and not DHing. I just noticed that. So who do they have DHing? Torkelson? Why? Why do you put him at DH and not Alvarez, who has a 25 rating at first base? Okay. Marte on with 2 outs here. Let's see if DeLauder can do some damage. Little grounder down the first base side, and let's see if DeLauder can beat it out. I think he does, and it's safe. Maybe a better defensive first baseman makes that play. Who knows? Kyle Teal gets hit, and now it's the bases loaded for Torin here, who is 0 for 1 so far. But we'll see if he can get through here in the 4th. As he hits that into center field, Myers with a nice sliding catch. And his defense comes through there and saves at least 1, possibly 2 runs. As Dollander walks the leadoff batter here. You don't love to see that. And he walks another here. So 2 on with nobody out. In the 4th, Yordan Alvarez, their first baseman, steps in and he walks him too. Okay. So 3 straight walks for Dollander. Man, what do we do here? He's only at 56 pitches. Here's what we do. We visit the mound. We give him a pep talk. And we rally behind him to get out of this inning. I don't know if visiting the mound actually does anything in the game here, but we're leaving him in. Ooh, Correa hits that deep to left field, but playable for DeLauder. The runner will tag and score, but that's fine. As it's now a tie ball game. Let's see here as this goes into right field, and Marte catches that for out number 2. Torkelson strikes out, so the mound visit works. You know, we had bases loaded, nobody out. It was going to be tough to get out of that with no damage at all, but allowing just one run, I will take that. As Naylor flies out to McCarthy for out number 1. Shanuel. That's extra bases over the left fielder's head as that goes, to second. Shanuel with a double here with 1 out. And Luis Robert Jr. at the plate. Let's see if we can get him in here. The middle of our order has been not great so far, but Robert Jr. comes through there as they do look to send him. No, they don't. Shanuel stays at third, so 2 on and 1 out for Colson Montgomery as Robert Jr. steals to make the double play impossible here as Montgomery strikes out. Man, we'd love to put that ball in play somewhere as Antonacci now comes up with 2 outs. And he hits that deep to left field and over the head of the left fielder. And Antonacci with a double to score 2. Chicago now in front 3-1. And Hunter Brown injured and has to come out of the ball game. So Matt Strom will come in to face Marte as we get to their bullpen here in the 5th inning via injury. And Marte strikes out to end the inning. But we do get 2. We take the lead. It's now 3-1 as Dolander will step back in to face Jake McCarthy. He checks his swing but goes around for strike 3 as Jake Myers will step in. And that is extra bases over the head of DeLauder. And that is a double for Myers. And that is the first hit for the Astros here. With Kyle Tucker up to bat and a smattering of lefties here. I think we might go to the bullpen here in a tight game. You know, I didn't want to take Dolander out while he had a no-hitter going, but with that broken up here, I think we might go to Eric Miller. The problem is if any of these guys get on, they would have to face Cam Smith. Let's look at the splits real quick. Kyle Tucker definitely worse against lefties. Crushing right-handed pitching. Roque Reggio definitely worse against lefties. Cam Smith way better against lefties. Okay, so against right-handed pitching, Eric Miller, not bad. I think we take the chance here with 1 on and 1 out that Miller can come in and get the next 2 outs. And if he has to face Cam Smith, so be it. But with 2 lefties up and a clutch spot here, high leverage spot, Myers tags and goes to third on that out there. So here's Roque Reggio, and if he can get him out here, that'll be no. And so he does go into center field, and here's where it gets dangerous as Cam Smith absolutely crushes left-handed pitching, and I cannot take Eric Miller out. Can he get the clutch out here? He can, as he gets the ground out to Torren. Okay, so it's 3-2 now, but still have the lead. DeLauder is up and puts that into center field for a base hit. So leadoff man is on for us here in the 6th. Kyle Teal, the bottom of our order has been surprisingly productive so far, as Teal continues his hot streak, putting that into center field for a base hit. Torin has not been hot, but I don't necessarily want to take him out here with the lead. Oh, is that a double play? Oh, he gets doubled off first base as the ball goes right to Correa. So just like that, there's 2 outs now and a man on second, as Naylor strikes out on a pitch that's likely outside. All right, Miller will stay in to face Alvarez, and then I think we bring in a different pitcher to face Correa. Then again, Miller only had 15 pitches. We could leave him in to face Correa. How is Correa look against lefties? He's hitting roughly the same, but slightly better against lefties. Yeah, you know what? We'll leave Miller out there, as that's flied deep to left field, but playable for DeLauder and Naylor. Walks. So against the bottom of their order here in the 6th, Torkelson. And a man on. I don't necessarily want to go to Taylor yet. We could go to Devin Williams. We could go to Mizorowski. Raisel Iglesias, perhaps. Garrett Whitlock was decent the last part of the year. I mean, we just have to get 1 out here. So I think we go with Whitlock here in the 6th to face Torkelson. As he does put that into play, but that should be playable by Torre, as we are still on top 3-2, and we've got Shanuel, Robert Jr., and Montgomery up in the 7th. And that is out number 1, Robert Jr. Hits that well, but right to the second baseman Reggio for out number 2. In Montgomery. Hits that high, but playable for Tucker in right field, as that's out number 3. And still 3-2. We will leave Garrett Whitlock in to face McCarthy and Myers, and then we'll see how things look after that. That's out number 1. Myers puts the ball in play, and Montgomery has no play. So there is a man on with Kyle Tucker at the plate. I think we again go to the bullpen here, and we will go to Grant Taylor here in a high leverage spot in the 7th. Fully rested with the top of their lineup up. I think it makes sense to go to him, despite the lefty matchup, as Tucker does come through with a base hit into center field. And Tucker goes to second as they go for the play at third. So Roque Reggio now with 2 on and 1 out. We don't want to walk Reggio to get to Smith, though, as he is their most dangerous hitter potentially. I think we pitch to him, as he does get walked anyway. So I thought about the intentional walk there to set up the double play, but Cam Smith puts that into play over the head of our infield, and that'll score at least one, possibly two. And just like that, Houston goes up 4-3. Man, things can change in an instant as Alvarez, that gets through the infield for a base hit. Another run will come in to score, and it is 5-3 now. As Correa strike three, so Grant Taylor finally gets an out. And a pop-up that should be... Whoa, where is that ball going? I have no idea. I guess that's in the corner. Okay, so that will score another run as, man, Taylor comes in. Normally very reliable, but he's kind of let us down here. Has, yeah, given up 5 runs here in the 7th. And he strikes out Torkelson to end the inning. But yeah, now we have a 4-run deficit to overcome, and we have to do it against Johan Duran. But we do get the leadoff man on via a walk. Marte with a little dribbler to the right-hand side. They go 1 and they go 2. Man. So that's a double play. And DeLauder puts that into left field for a base hit. So we are getting to Duran a little bit, but not enough, as we are down to our final 3 outs now. Taylor will not come back in to pitch the 8th. We're going to go to Iglesias here. Let's try and keep this a 4-run game. As that's hit well to left center field and in for extra bases. As DeLauder phases through the wall and picks that one up. That is a leadoff double for Jake McCarthy. Myers pops up for out number 1. Kyle Tucker back up to bat. And he walks. It's ball 4. So now the leadoff, or the beginning of their lineup up again as Reggio comes through again with a hit. The bases are loaded again with 1 out, and Cam Smith at the plate. We'll leave Iglesias in, and he'll get strike 3. Yordan Alvarez against Raisel Iglesias. And that is popped up into center field, and Luis Robert Jr. pulls it down. So we do get out of the inning without any more damage, but we need to score 4 in the 9th here. And Torin will not be the guy to try to spark that rally. We're going to go with Torrens, maybe? As Brooks Baldwin has not had a hit so far in the playoffs. Yeah, let's go with Torrens. Why not? We need base runners. And he strikes out on 3 pitches. Okay. Naylor puts that into play, but that will be an out. And we are down to our final out here in the form of Nolan Shanuel. And that's a little dribbler in front of a mound, and that is out number 3. Yeah, that's a disappointing outing, especially given that most of the damage came against Taylor, who's normally our best reliever. Yeah, allowed 4 runs to score in a disastrous 7th inning. Yeah, that's a disappointing one. As Dolander had a solid start, but the bullpen does not come through. As yeah, I mean, it's tougher in the playoffs, and the Astros are a tough team, but man, it feels like we let that one slip away. As DeLauder had a 3 for 4 day. I mean, that is encouraging. But there's several people. Yeah, I mean, Montgomery hitting 062 so far. Marte, one of our big trade deadline acquisitions, 083. Antonacci, 167. Robert Jr., 133. The middle part of our lineup just really struggling so far. Torin, 100, but he's always been more of a defensive specialist. But yeah, we need our bats to come alive if we're going to have a chance against Houston as we go down in the series 0-1. Okay, we head into game two here. Not too much different in terms of the starting lineups for either team, I'd say. We have Shane Smith taking the mound for us today. He was good in his performance against Toronto. That was the 12-inning game that we ended up coming back and winning. And we faced Mike Burrows, who looks solid but not spectacular, I'd say. Yeah, doesn't look to go deep into many of his games for some reason. Yeah, against Texas, they pulled him at just 43 pitches. I wonder if he got hurt in that game. He did. Okay, so that would be why his ERA is under 4, but we should hopefully be able to do more damage to him. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but let's get into game number 2 here. As Josh Naylor leading off up to bat. It's a beautiful day in Houston. As we strike out, Shanuel puts that into right field for a base hit. And Luis Robert Jr. pop up, playable for the second baseman, Reggio, and that is out number 1, or out number 2. And this should be out number 3, as that flies out to Tucker. So no runs there, as Shane Smith will face Kyle Tucker to lead off the bottom of the first. And that's a ground out to the second baseman. We like that. Rock Reggio. Another ground out to the second baseman. And Cam Smith. That one hit to right field, but playable for Marte as he makes a running catch. So 0-0 here in the top of the second. Antonacci puts that into right field for a base hit. So leadoff man is on here as Marte steps in to bat against Burrows. Antonacci takes off, and he gets a good jump. That should be a steal for Antonacci. I probably should look up at some point if it's Antonacci or Antonacci. I'm going to say Antonacci, I think. As Marte strikes out, Antonacci goes for third and successfully takes third. So he has stolen all his way all the way to third. Chase DeLauder works the count full and puts that into right field for a base hit. So that will score the run. Nice job. Nice base running by Antonacci, giving us a 1-0 lead as the runner takes off there and possibly avoids a double play there. No, and Teal legs out a single. So never mind double play. We don't get any outs there as Torin will come up to bat. Hits that one deep to center field, but playable for Myers as the runner from second tags, and DeLauder will go to third on that. But Naylor will need a hit to score him. and he strikes out. But we do take a 1-0 lead as Shane Smith will go to work here in the bottom of the second. And leadoff man hits one through for a base hit. Yordan Alvarez is on with nobody out and Carlos Correa at the plate. That could be two. And curiously, they only turned one with Alvarez running. That looked like it should have been a double play. But anyway, we do get the out at first. Alvarez now standing at second with Bo Naylor at the plate. And Bo Naylor walks. So 2 on, 1 out. The double play is now in order again for Torkelson as he walks. So 2 consecutive walks for Shane Smith. In a bit of a jam here with bases loaded and just 1 out. Let's see if he can get out of it here, as that is hit fairly deep to center field. Playable for Robert Jr., but the runner does tag and score at third. So it's now a tie game, 1-1 here in the bottom of the second. And Myers pops up, and that should end the inning as Torin pulls it down. So we are in the third, tied 1-1. Chanuel hits a weak grounder to the first base side, and it's tossed to the pitcher. Again, they have Alvarez playing first base, curiously, and Torkelson DHing, as Luis Robert Jr. hits that through for a base hit. Montgomery pops it up. Foul territory on the third base side, and Smith pulls it in. Antonacci strikes out. Sorry for the weird gap there. I had to sneeze and didn't want that blowing out your eardrums on the recording as we head to the bottom of the third here. Shane Smith strikes out Tucker to start the inning. Reggio hits that one deep to right field and gone. So Reggio does come through with a solo shot. Houston now up 2-1. Cam Smith strikes out. And Shane Smith to Yordan Alvarez, who reached on his first time up. And that is a strikeout. So Smith not having an awful day so far, but we are down 2-1. As Marte chases a pitch there for strike 3. DeLauder puts one into play, little dribbler in front of the mound, and does he beat out the throw? He does. That's an infield hit. So DeLauder at first, Teal at the plate, Mike Burrows deals, and that is hit right to the shortstop, Correa, for out number 2. So Torin will bat with a man on and 2 outs as the ball gets away from the catcher, and that will at least move the runner to scoring position as DeLauder stands at second base now. Torin, can he keep the inning alive? Another weak grounder in front of the pitcher, but that one is in time to get him at first base. So we are still down 2-1 as Carlos Correa will face Shane Smith here, and he puts that one into left field, and it'll drop in for a base hit. So Shane Smith, 45 pitches. So they look to bunt, foul. So Bo Naylor had 2 strikes, strikes out, does not get the bunt down. Torkelson, you have to imagine he'll be swinging away here. And he does, and he puts that into left field. Somewhat shallow, but DeLauder pulls it down. And we walk Torin to bring, or we walk McCarthy, to bring up the 9-hitter Myers. And Myers comes through with a single into center field. And that'll likely score a run as... No, they hold Correa at third. So bases loaded, 2 outs for Kyle Tucker. Um, yeah, Smith, can he get out of this one? He walks in a run and a full count. So Rock Reggio will come in. And he swings and flies out to left center, but the Astros get another run, and it's 3-1 now as we head to the fifth. And Naylor comes through with a base hit into center field. All right, so we need to do some damage here. Let's see if Nolan Shanuel can do that for us as he tries to check his swing and does not. That is a strikeout, but Burrows, curiously, done for the day. They go to Phil Matone here in the fifth. So we are to the Rockies, the Astros bullpen, as Robert Jr. hits that one deep to left field and gone. So that is a 2-run shot, and just like that, we are tied 3-3. Curious decision to pull the starting pitcher there, as Burrows was only at 82 pitches and was doing well so far. I mean, we've given up 3 hits. That one may be questioned by the fans there, as Robert Jr. makes him pay. Montgomery strikes out. Antonacci gets hit. And that will bring him to first base. Let's see if Antonacci will be active on the base pass again. He will, and he successfully steals second base. So that's, I think, 3 steals for Antonacci in this game so far. Let's see if Marte can make him pay, and he can, as that heads fair down the left field line. And just like that, we are back in front, 4-3. With Antonacci running, that was a no doubt scoring opportunity. And Matone coming in and just giving up 3 runs and giving up the lead for the Astros, as we are ahead now 4-3. And DeLauder will walk. So the bullpen not getting it done for the Astros. Kyle Teal, I will leave in to face the lefty, given how he's hit so far. And he flies out to center field. But we retake the lead here. Shane Smith at 74 pitches, facing the heart of the order. I think in the playoffs, if we allow a base runner and with a 1-run lead, he will come out of this game. But otherwise, I will let him go here in the fifth, as he'll face Alvarez. That's a fly ball, fairly deep to left field, but playable for DeLauder, out number 2. And Correa strikes out number 3. So Smith gets through 5 here. And Strom will face Torin here in the top of the 6th. As Torin gets hit. Second hit batsman there. And that'll be Strom's day, as Camilo Doval comes in to face Josh Naylor. Naylor strikes out. Nolan Shanuel strikes out on a full count. And Luis Robert Jr., so far the hero of this game. Strike 3, and Camilo Doval strikes out the side. Shane Smith, 88 pitches. I think his day will be done here, and we will go to our bullpen, and it will be in the 6th inning. I don't want to go to Mizorowski yet, so we might go to Devin Williams here to try. And who's better against lefties between Williams and Whitlock? Whitlock is slightly better. Let's go with Whitlock here, as we will face 2 lefties in this inning at least. look to hopefully get through 2 innings with Whitlock, or at least an inning and a third, an inning and 2/3. He doesn't have much trouble here in the 6th, as we will head to the 7th and face Duvall again. And popped up by Montgomery, whose struggles at the plate continue. He is hitting 0.50 in the playoffs so far. Antonacci strikes out. Marte hits that one into left field. Will it get down for a base hit? No. McCarthy does manage to run and grab that one. So still 4-3. Whitlock set to face Myers, Tucker, Reggio. I think if any of those guys reach, we will bring in Mizorowski. That is a dribbler down the third base line, and Montgomery throws out Myers. So Tucker will face Whitlock here. Fly ball to fairly deep left field, but DeLauder manages to catch that one. And Whitlock facing Reggio. Puts that into play, but playable for Antonacci. And Aroldis Chapman will come in to face Chase DeLauder. The lefty-lefty matchup here. Chase DeLauder is 2 for 2 today. I think we leave him in. And he comes through in the clutch here, as that'll make it all the way to the wall, and that'll be a double for DeLauder. So he rewards our faith in him facing the lefty Chapman, and comes through. Kyle Teal, same deal. He's 1 for 3. He's been good in the playoffs. I'm going to leave him in to face the left-handed Chapman. As Teal flies, no, he hits that into left field for a base hit. DeLauder did have to pause to see if that was going to get down or not, so he stays at third. Torin now. I'll have him bat. 3-1 count. Oh, they try to pick off Teal at first base. Not successful. Let's see if Torin can get something through. That is to the gap, and that'll be extra bases for Torin. Nice job. So we get some insurance runs here. At least one will score. I don't know if Teal will make it all the way around. Teal is held at third. So it's now 5-3, and Josh Naylor at the plate facing Chapman. Strike 3, and that's the first out of the inning. So Chapman facing Shanuel. Hits that into right field for a base hit. So that'll score at least one. Let's see if they send the runner. Torin does not go. And it's 6-3 with first and third here. Robert Jr. at the plate. And there's a wild pitch by Chapman. And that will send Torin home and Shanuel to second. As now it's a 7-3 ball game. Strike 3. And Jimmy Herget will come in to face Colson Montgomery. And Montgomery puts that into right field for a base hit. I think they send the runner here. Shanuel, no, they do not send Shanuel. He's not particularly fast. So Antonacci will come up now with 2 outs and 2 on. Can we keep this inning going? And that is through for a base hit or an error? No, they give him an infield hit. Okay, so Shanuel scores. It's an 8-3 game now. Bullpen letting this get out of control. But that will end the inning as Marte grounds out to the shortstop. Now 8-3. And with a 5-run lead, I don't think we go to Mizorowski now. I think we go to... Whitlock will stay in to face Cam Smith. And then I think we'll go to Anthony K to get the last few outs with a 5-run lead. And we'll save Mizorowski for a more high leverage situation. And K covers the bag, and Alvarez is retired. Carlos Correa hits that into left center field for a base hit. So the Astros do have one on here in the 8th. Bo Naylor will bat. Lefty-lefty matchup, and he pops it up to the shortstop, and that is out number 3. And so we'll head to the 9th, and DeLauder, Teal, Torin up to bat. DeLauder's 3 for 3 today, now 3 for 4, as that is picked up by Correa and grabbed by Alvarez to make out number 1. Teal, ball 4, and that is a base runner now for Torin. And Torin puts that into left field for a base hit. So Torin is starting to hit a little bit. The only one who's stayed cold, I think, is Montgomery now, as everyone else doing decently well as they try to turn 2. Quick throw over, and I think they do get the double play here on Naylor. Anthony K in to get the final 3 outs against Torkelson, McCarthy, and Myers, unless they pinch hit. Torkelson walks. So leadoff walk here for the Astros. They do pinch hit. Gabriel Gonzalez will come in to bat against K. And that is popped up to shallow center field. And Robert Jr. gets the first out of the inning. Jake Myers up to bat. They go for the pick off at first, and that is safe for Torkelson. I don't think Torkelson's particularly a threat to run. That ball does find center field for a base hit. So Kyle Tucker will come up with 2 on and 1 out. And he hits that one deep and over the head of Robert Jr. So base hit here. And K does allow a runner to score. So now it's 8-4. Yanier Diaz is pinch hitting against K. We'll let K face him. And that proves to be a mistake, as that gets to the corner. That'll score some runs. 8-6 tying run now at the plate in the form of Cam Smith. We have to pull K here and go to Mizorowski, I think. We were trying to avoid using him, but now in a save situation against their best hitter, we have to, but he strikes out. Smith, can he get Alvarez for out number 3? Alvarez works a full count and strikes out. So Mizorowski with the final 2 outs, as K makes this a little closer than it should be, as we get a bunch of achievements here. 3 stolen bases, 6 hits in an inning, and something else that I didn't see. And yeah, that's a fine win for us. Made it a little more interesting than it should have been in the 9th. I don't love having to burn Mizorowski there, but we got the win. That's the most important thing. Yeah, and this is a dangerous Houston lineup. They proved that they can score runs. They scored 6 against us. We just happened to score more. Chapman was miserable today. 2/3 of an inning, 4 runs scored. And the bats are starting to come alive here, as everyone in the lineup had at least 1 hit today. We love to see that. Including Montgomery, who has been cold. Let's see if his bat can get a little bit more, yeah, a little bit hotter as the series goes on. But yeah, that is game number 2. We have tied up the series 1-1, and we'll be heading back to Chicago, looking to take the series lead. And we got the starting lineup all got hits versus the Astros. Yes, I did notice that. That is an achievement. 6 hits versus the Astros. 9 men came to the plate in the 8th inning, and then Antonacci 3 stolen bases in 1 game. Great game for him. Nice. Yeah, 1-1 series. We'll head back to Chicago. All right, getting into game 3 here. It's several real life days later, so I'm a bit out of the flow of things, but we're going to roll out the same lineup that won us game number 2, or basically the same lineup, I believe, and I think the Astros are going with the same lineup as well. Curiously, I know I pointed this out during the game, but I have no idea why you put Torkelson at DH and then force start Alvarez at first base with a 25 rating instead of flip-flopping them. But, CPU is going to do CPU things. I think the rest of their lineup choices make sense. But, yeah, that one is pretty baffling to me when there's a very easy fix to just make your defense better. I mean, it is your first base defense, but anyway, yeah, let's get into game number 3 here. We've got Noah Schultz on the mound for us tonight. He did decent against Toronto in a 2-0 loss. Went up against, I can't actually click on that to see who it went up against, but we got shut out. I think that was the game that our offense just didn't come through at all. And Nick Pivetta will be on the mound for the Astros tonight, and he had a good season. ERA under 4. Yeah, just a very solid season overall. So he is weak in home runs allowed, so maybe we can get to him that way. Our lineup does have a decent amount of power, so let's see how we fare in game number 3 here. This is to take the lead in the series. We are currently tied 1-1. And yeah, this is a 5-game series, so we'd love to win game number 3 and make next game a deciding game. That's not the way to start it, as Kyle Tucker hits one, I think, to the gap, and it kind of jumped around a little bit there. But yeah, that's an extra base hit for Kyle Tucker to lead things off. So nobody out, and Torkelson will bat with a runner at second, but that's a pop out to Antonacci. And Yordan Alvarez flies out to right field. No tag from the runner. And Cam Smith will bat now with 2 outs. And he will strike out. So, no runs allowed. Nice job getting out of that by Schultz. And Naylor will bat first for us today. I did take a brief look at the playoff stats before getting into the game as Naylor pops out there. Shanuel will bat next. Naylor is one of the guys who's really struggling, along with Marte. And then Montgomery has been our worst hitter with an 0.95 average. Let's see if those guys can kind of pick things up today, as Robert Jr. hits one deep and gone. So that is a solo shot to put us up 1-0. Nice job by him. He's been coming through in big spots for us in both series, I believe. Colson Montgomery, though, continues to struggle as his average is down to 0.91. I mean, average isn't everything, but he has not been getting on base through other means either. He's just really struggled in that middle spot in the order, which is a shame because he had a good season. As Carlos Correa walks, so they do get a base runner here with 1 out and Bo Naylor at the plate. Naylor strikes out, and Schultz will face Jake McCarthy with a man on. And that looks like it'll find the gap in left center field. That may score a run. Let's see if we can get the ball in time. Correa hustles over to third, and he does score. So on the double, they tie up the game at 1-1, and Jake Myers will bat next. And that is a pop-up, so that should be the inning. And yeah, we are tied 1-1 now in the bottom of the second. As Antonacci hits one. Oh man, okay. Myers makes a diving catch to pull that in, so robbing Antonacci of a hit. Marte walks. We'd like to see that. And we'll see if he looks to steal here in a tie ball game and chase DeLauder at the plate. He does take off, the swing and the miss, and the throw to second safe. So DeLauder strikes out, but Marte does successfully steal the base to avoid the strike him out, throw him out, double play. Let's see if Kyle Teal can knock him home here. He does walk, so the inning will continue with Christopher Torren. Again, not known for his offense, but he's had a few clutch hits throughout the series. He does not get one there, as the ball does not get past the second baseman, and we enter the third. Still tied 1-1, and Kyle Tucker back up at the plate. And he walks on a full count, so Torkelson will again bat with a man on, and that's popped up. Looks playable for the catcher Teal, and that's out number one. So Yordan Alvarez will bat. And that is, hit right to the second baseman, and Antonacci doubles off Tucker. Nice double play there. So the runner does not come back to bite us again. And let's see if Naylor can do some damage now. And he cannot. So Shanuel. It's really the bottom of our order that has kind of been coming through in the playoffs, largely. With the exception of Luis Robert Jr., who has continued to hit well as if on cue. That's a double to the gap there. As he does a stand-up double. No chance of throwing him out there. Montgomery, can he come through? Looks like no. So that was a 2-out double, and we do not knock him in. Montgomery continues to struggle. Man, it's been rough for him here. Has 2 consecutive strikeouts for Noah Schultz there very quickly, and Correa does put that in play, and that ball is thrown across the diamond and in time to get Correa. So that's a 1-2-3 inning. Nice job by Schultz there. He's working efficiently today. I don't know how many pitches he's had, but Antonacci gets one to right field for a base hit. He's been fairly solid in this series. Marte will bat again. Let's see if he can get on, or he gets on via walk again. So we've got 2 on, nobody out now for Chase DeLauder. He hits that one high, but playable for the second baseman. Infield fly rolls on, and Kyle Teal will bat. Let's see if he can knock him in, as that's crushed deep to left field and gone. Kyle Teal, 3-run homer, puts us up 4-1. Very nice job by him. Out of the 8th spot for us, as Christopher Torren will bat next. And he puts one down the line and fair, so that could be extra bases for Torren. No, he's not particularly fast, so that's just a single for him. Um, Josh Naylor will come up to bat with one on and one out. A weak grounder to the second baseman, and that is out number two. Does advance the runner, so if Shanuel can manage to get a hit here, there's a chance we score a run. He does walk, so that's the day for their starting pitcher. Pulled in the fourth. Carlos Estevez will come in to try and put out the fire with Luis Robert Jr., who's hot. He's 2 for 2, and that's not going to help things as that's a wild pitch. Luis Robert Jr. Can he go 3 for 3 today? That's a hot shot down the line, but with 2 outs, they throw across to first, and that is the inning. So no more runs, but we do take the lead. It's 4-1 now. Schultz is only at 63 pitches, so he will be going through the whole fifth most likely as Naylor walks to lead off the inning. Jake McCarthy hits that one high, but playable for Torn. And Jake Myers, little dribbler, that could be 2. No, they do throw across the diamond to get the runner at first. So Naylor takes second, and Kyle Tucker will come back up to bat here. I like the lefty-lefty matchup. Maybe I don't like the lefty-lefty matchup, as Kyle Tucker probably scores a run there. The throw does come home, but runner is safe, so it's 4-2. Torkelson against Schultz. I think I'll let Schultz face him. He's done fairly well so far. As that is hit out to left field, deep left field, but stays in the yard for DeLauder. And yeah, Montgomery. Let's see if he can get something going offensively, as that's hit fairly well, but playable for Tucker at the track. So he's hitting the ball, he's just not finding space there. Antonacci does find space as he puts that one into right field. So he's had a good day with 2 hits, I believe. And Marte will bat. He's walked in both of his appearances today. As Antonacci goes, and he looks to have beaten the throw. So Antonacci, with his speed, gets himself into scoring position for Marte, who strikes out. So Chase DeLauder will bat with a man at second and 2 outs. Let's see if we can get a hit, as DeLauder hits that one high but not deep, as that goes to Tucker to end the inning. Schultz will come back out to start the 6th here. If they get any base runners, I think we go to the bullpen, as Alvarez hits that one, but playable for Robert Jr. Cam Smith comes up. That's routine grounder to Torren. And Roque Reggio. That is playable for the second baseman. And that is the 6th. So we're still up 4-2. We've got Teal, Torren, and Naylor set to bat in this inning. As Correa lunges and catches that, Camilo Doval will come in to face Torren. Strike 3. So he strikes out, and Naylor will bat now. He's 0 for 3 today. Not what you want from your leadoff hitter, who strikes out again. Schultz at 91 pitches. I think we let him sit and go to the bullpen here. And Carlos Correa, Naylor, and McCarthy up. Let's go with We could go straight to Grant Taylor and have him try to pull the 3-inning save, but I might go to well, Raisel Iglesias has been good. Or Garrett Whitlock for an inning. I don't love that. Yeah, let's try Raisel Iglesias. And then if he gets into trouble, we can bring in Grant Taylor. But I want to see if we can save Taylor for the 8th and the 9th. Or rather, probably when we get to the top of the Houston order. Okay, as Iglesias does give up a hit to Naylor, and McCarthy will bat next. 3-1 pitch put into center field, so that's a base hit. And now the ball gets away. Runner will come along around to score. Not a great at bat there. All right, so Cavan Biggio will pinch hit here. I think we go with the lefty to face him. Maybe. I mean, he's not a particularly strong pinch hitter regardless, but Tucker, who's batting after him, is definitely worse against lefties. So let's go with Eric Miller here to try and put out this fire. As the ball gets away from Teal, and that's a pass ball. Strike 3, okay. So Biggio does not put the ball in play, and they pinch hit for Tucker, really, with Gabriel Gonzalez. Okay, I mean, he is... Wow, all right. Yeah, that's an interesting move. A balk called on Miller. Oh my God! All right, that is one thing simming through here is they call balks way too often, and especially a balk in a playoff game to balk in the tying run. That I think the home crowd would crucify that umpire. But anyway, Gabriel Gonzalez grounds out. That's a terrible call. I hope Miller gets himself ejected for that one, because that's awful. All right. Anyway, we are now tied again as Shaniel will face Duvall. And that is a pop-up and an out. Luis Robert Jr. Let's see if he can come through. He's 2 for 3 today. He strikes out. And Colson Montgomery, 0 for 3. Can he finally do something? No. That's going to be another pop-up and an out. So, man, Colson Montgomery really struggling in the playoffs. So we will go to Grant Taylor here to try to keep this a tie ball game. He will pitch the 8th and the 9th, and possibly more if we don't manage to score any runs. Alvarez facing Taylor. Hits that one high and deep, but playable for Robert Jr., and that is out number 2. Smith strikes out. So nice job by Taylor. That's a 1-2-3 inning. And Johan Duran, their closer, comes in. So We are each wanting to win this decisive game 3. Enough to use our closers, basically. I mean, the strength of this team, though, is that we kind of have 3 closers in a way. Oh, as the ball is dropped by Reggio, let's see if we can take advantage of that error, as Marte is decent at stealing. DeLauder has been a good hitter, and Teal behind him. So we've got a decent amount of chances, and DeLauder walks. So Teal is up now with 2 on and 1 out. And that is hit deep to right field and down for a hit. Nice job by Teal. That will score a run. No, it won't score a run. My God, they throw him out at home. Okay. And so we have second and third with 2 outs, and Torrin at the plate. He's 1 for 3 today. Do we pinch hit for him here? Against Duran, who is a righty. I mean, I think we still let Torrin hit here, just given the season numbers so far, and he's got a hit already today. But man, I can't believe they got that out at home. As Torrin strikes out. Oh my God, that's gonna be, if we don't end up winning this game, that's a killer right there. You gotta score those runs. Or score a run at least. As Reggio strikes out, Correa will face Taylor next. He hits that one high, but not very deep, as DeLauder pulls it down. And Naylor strikes out. So, nice job by Taylor. And can we finally get to Johan Duran? Naylor puts that in play, but that should be an out for Reggio, who knocks it down and throws it to Biggio, who stays into play first. Alvarez in left field now. Strikeout by Shanuel. And Robert Jr. does get on here with 2 outs. He's a decent threat to steal, and Aroldis Chapman in to face the lefty Colson Montgomery. Well, given how Colson Montgomery has done this series, and the fact that they did bring in a lefty to face him, I think we go with Christian Moore to pinch hit here. We're going to pull this lever and see if it works. As the throw goes across to first, and Moore does not get the hit. So we now need to shift things around. Torrin stays at second. Moore will come into play third. And we'll leave Antonassi at second. Grant Taylor at 25 pitches. Lefties due up. I think we let him go. Yeah. Yeah, so Taylor will at least start this inning. It's a little dribbler in front of the plate, and Taylor gloves it and throws out the runner. Biggio next. And that is hit playable for Marte. And Gabriel Gonzalez strikes out. Again, very interesting decision to pinch hit for Kyle Tucker there. Antanasi facing a lefty. I don't like that matchup either, as he has been not great against left-handed. Hitting. Let's see. I think we go with Naylor can only play first. Yeah, we've got enough to make this switch, I think. So we'll go ahead and put in Torrens for Antonacci. Pinch hitting against the lefty Chapman. And no dice there, as that is out number one. Marte was decent against lefties. We will let him hit. DeLauder, we'll see. As that's hit high, but not very deep, as Gonzalez catches it. DeLauder 0 for 3 today. Very bad against lefties. Brooks Baldwin will come in for him, I think. All right, as that is the inning. Okay, so how do we want to do this? I think Torrens comes out for either Ortiz or Lara. We lost our left fielder and our second baseman, so I think we put in Ortiz to play second, and Baldwin can play left decently well. So that's the move we're going to make. Or actually, we can have Ortiz play short and Torrens slide over to second. That's a better defensive lineup. Okay. And Taylor now at 3 innings pitched. I think we go to Mizorowski here. Yeah, let's do that. As we head to the top of the 11th. This game was tied on a balk call, which is just... I don't think that would ever be called in the playoffs. Unless it was very blatant, as that is Yordan Alvarez with a single, so they put him on. No pinch runner for Alvarez. I don't even know if they have guys left off the bench to put in. Cam Smith strikes out. Let's see if Mizorowski can get out of this without any damage, and he can. So, I guess let's look and see. They have Yanier Diaz. Jose Altuve has curiously not played much. I mean, I guess he is 38 years old now. And Nick Solak. Gabriel Gonzalez. No, he was a guy that I looked at picking up at one point, I think. Yeah. And I did not. And now he's playing against us in the playoffs. That's interesting. All right. Kyle Teal has not hit lefties well, but I want to leave him in because he's been so hot recently. And because I already took our backup catcher, and he rewards our faith with a base hit to right field, so he stays hot. We will not pinch run for him because, again, we don't have anyone that can play catcher. Torren 1 for 4 with the lefty up. Lara not good against lefties. So we will let Torn bat. As he puts down the bunt, and that does get the runner over. So the small ball brings Teal over to second base. And now we have 2 shots to get him in with Naylor and Shanuel up. Both lefties, but Chapman at 25 pitches. Can we get through to him? As that one's popped up for out number 2. Naylor has been ice cold this game. Phil Matone does come in, so they bring in the righty Matone to face Shanuel, who is over 4 today, but 259 in the series, and we will let him bat. Let's see if he can come through on the 1-2 pitch. That is pulled to the first baseman and thrown to Matone covering first, and that is it. We go to the 12th, as Mizorowski will face Correa next. And that one hangs up enough for Baldwin to catch it. Mizorowski facing Naylor. And Naylor walks, so McCarthy up to face Mizorowski. And he walks. Okay, so now with the lefty Biggio up and 1 out, do we pull Mizorowski here after 2 straight walks? I think that might be the move. As we'll go to our 3rd closer, Ryan Walker, to try and put this fire out here in the 12th. Striking out Biggio, nice job there. Key 2nd out in the inning, and Gabriel Gonzalez will face Walker next. And that is a fly ball to left field, but playable for Baldwin. So we do get out of the inning, still tied 4-4. Luis Robert Jr., if anyone can end this with 1 swing, it's him. And he strikes out. Man. The sun's starting to set here as this game started at 1 p.m. So the fans have gotten plenty of baseball action here as we head to the bottom of the 12th. We've been in the bottom of the 12th. Moore flies out. Ortiz will face Matone and pop up. Unfortunately, we only have Lara left coming off the bench, and I want to use him more of a pinch running spot, ideally, than a pinch hitting spot. Yeah, and I mean, I have to sub him out for an outfielder, basically, unless it's for... I mean, I can always shift Baldwin to multiple spots. It's just Kyle Teal that I can't take out, so... Torkelson is 0 for 5 today. Walker was only at 8 pitches. He will stay in to start the 13th as Torkelson gets his first hit of the day against Walker. So, man on and nobody out for Yordan Alvarez, who strikes out. He's always a dangerous hitter, despite his 200 average so far in the series. Cam Smith has struggled. Let's see if he continues to struggle. He does. Goes after a slider. Strikeout 5 times today. That's a rough day. Roque Reggio walks. So Carlos Correa, Ryan Walker getting tired. Winning run at second. I think we go to Whitlock just to get the last out in this inning on short rest. That is put in play, but playable for Ortiz, and we gotta win this in the bottom of the 13th. Come on, Marte. That's put in play, but playable for Smith, as Baldwin will come up now to face Matone. And that is through to center field for a base hit. Baldwin not bad on the base paths. I think we leave him in. Do we pinch run with Lara? If they keep the a right-handed pitcher in, I want Lara over Torin? Do I? Not really. So, and how much better is Lara? I mean, he's also a 70 at stealing. He's just faster. Very slightly faster. So I think Baldwin is a good enough runner. I think we leave him in. I think we let Teal go here. And then Torin, we'll see. Ooh, that could be a double play. No, the runner does advance to second. So Baldwin at second now with 2 outs and Torin at the plate. 222 in the series. He's 1 for 4 today. I think we let him bat. And hope for the best. As he hits that one to left field, but playable for Alvarez. So we go to the 14th. As Whitlock will not stay in the game. It will be facing a bunch of lefties. We'll bring in Anthony Kay to pitch the 14th and maybe the 15th as well. So we are almost out of pitchers here. As that is hit deep to left field, but nice catch by Baldwin. Anthony Kay seems to be in pain and they have to take him out of the ball game. All right, well, Devin Williams will come in. I mean, that's still a good pitcher, but he's our last guy out of the bullpen, and then we'll have to go to one of our starters. As McCarthy checks his swing, but does get strike 3. Devin Williams to face Cavan Biggio. Strike 3, okay. So, Jimmy Herget comes in to face Josh Naylor here. Naylor is 0 for 6 in today's game. I think we pull the lever here to try and get something going offensively. Luis Lara pinch hitting for Naylor to lead off the inning. As Lara puts that into left field for a base hit, so he does come through here. The winning run is now at first base and is a threat to steal as Shanuel steps in. Strikes out. Luis Robert Jr., will he be the hero today? Strike 3, he will not. So it's up to Christian Moore to come through here. And he does. That is a base hit to center field. Runner stays at second. So winning run now at second base, and Joey Ortiz up at the plate. Not known for his bat, more known for his defense. Can he be the hero here today? As that's hit, could get down for a base hit. No, Gonzalez does make the grab. We'll go to the 15th inning. My God. All right. Marte can really only play right field, so Lara will shift to the left. Baldwin will shift to first, and Devin Williams will come back out to pitch the 15th inning. As that's a ground out for out number 1. Torkelson draws a walk, so the winning run at first for the Astros now, and Alvarez at the plate. And we hit Alvarez. All right, so Yordan Alvarez examines his head, and they have to take him out of the ballgame. So Altuve will pinch run for Alvarez, and Cam Smith will bat. Will he be the hero after striking out 5 times so far this game? As that is a fly ball to left field, but playable for Lara. Devin Williams starting to get tired, but we have no one else. As Reggio crushes that to the fence, and that will give up the lead. As Reggio tries to stretch it to 3 and gets thrown out at third base, so he has a 2 RBI double. It's 6-4, but we need 2 runs now in the bottom of the 15th to keep this game alive. Marte hits it well, but playable for McCarthy in center. Brooks Baldwin up the middle, but playable for the shortstop Correa. And we are down to our final out. Kyle Teal at the plate. .30 pitch. He hits that into center field. So the tying run will come up in the form of Christopher Torren. Jared Jones and on the mound. Not a particularly good pitcher. Let's see if Torren can make him pay here. As he pops it up in the infield, and that'll be the game as we lose a heartbreaker in 15 innings, 6-4. Man, that's an unfortunate loss, and we blew basically our entire bullpen trying to get that. I mean, the upside is they did too, but man, we wasted a nice game by Schultz after taking a 4-2 lead. Then the Balk scores a run to tie the game in the 7th. Man, that's a tough one to lose. And Anthony Kay got hurt and is out with an oblique strain for 1 week. So, yeah, that's rough. So we lose Anthony Kay. So our pitching staff is down a pitcher. Yeah, I'll have to see if I want to put him on the IL. He would be forced to miss the next playoff series, but I feel like we might need the arm after that 15-inning affair. We could look to put Liam Peterson back on the roster, or Hagen Smith, who's not particularly great at the big league level. Or Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson would probably be the play. 4.01 average. Or Phil Fox, who was okay. Man. that's a rough one to lose. Um, so K out for a week. I mean, he for sure will not be pitching in the rest of this series. And he's not a guy that we necessarily need for the next series. But, man, I'll see what we decide to do heading into game number 4 here, as we need to win the next 2 or we will be going home. Okay, after that loss, it's the next day in real life. Yeah, and we're going to get into game number 4 here with some changes. First things first, I did decide to put Anthony K on the IL. If you look at our pitching staff, we've got so many pitchers that are at least slightly tired after that 15-inning affair yesterday. Devin Williams especially, after he unfortunately was the one who got saddled with the loss for that game. So I figured, as much as it sucks losing Anthony K for the next series, if we advance, we need to worry about advancing first, as we need to win the next 2 games in order to make it out of this series. And I think Ryan Johnson gives us the best chance of doing that. A fresh arm who's somewhat reliable out of the pen. He, started 15 games for us, put up a ERA just over 4. Like, he's been a very solid pitcher all year. So, yeah, you don't mind that, and I want a fresh arm for tonight's game. Houston's bullpen looks equally decimated, is the upside. So we need to try and get to Christian Javier early, and we could do that. He had an ERA over 4 on the season after pitching most of the season with Minnesota, then getting traded back to Houston, which is an interesting arc there. The other difference, as you may notice, is that our batting lineup is different. I've reordered it based on who's been hot in the playoffs and made one substitution. So we've got, from top to bottom, Robert Jr., Teal. Teal has been our hottest hitter. I like putting our hottest hitter in the 2 slot. Marte has not been amazing, but I wanted to put gaps in there so we didn't have more than 2 bats, left-handed bats in a row in our lineup. Antonacci, Shanuel, Torrin, DeLauder in left, and then Luis Lara gets the start in right, and Marte shifts to DH, and Josh Naylor, who has been ice cold with a 20 OPS versus right-handed pitching, will be on the bench in today's game. I still have a slight amount of faith in Colson Montgomery, but he's more in for his defense at the moment. There's not really a good defensive replacement for him, or a good, we could put Christian Moore in there, but ideally he's more of a left-handed sub. If we get the opportunity where Colson Montgomery is facing a left-handed pitcher, I think we will sub in Christian Moore for him. But he's shifted down to 9th in our lineup to start the evening. And yeah, their lineup hasn't changed much despite us putting a lefty on the mound tonight in Parker Messick. He was very solid for us all season. Solid in his last playoff appearance against Toronto. 4 2/3, 3 allowed. So we need to win tonight. That's all there is to it. Let's get into game number 4. As Messick will face Kyle Tucker lead off. The Astros do not suffer from their bizarre choice to pinch hit for Kyle Tucker. in yesterday's game, as he pops up to start the game, and Torkelson strikes out for out number 2. Alvarez is slightly injured. Did he have to come out of the last game, or I don't remember. That was a long game, and it was in real life days yesterday. So, yeah, we'll go to the bottom of the 11th, or bottom of the first 11th. I hope we don't have another 11 inning game today. That would be something. As Luis Robert Jr. leads off with a deep ball, but playable for Tucker. Kyle Teal. Let's see if he can keep up his hot streak, and he does make it on. So 1 on and 1 out for Marte here, as Teal looks to steal and is successful. So Teal, not necessarily known for his legs, but does get himself in a scoring position there as Marte strikes out, and Antonacci will try to drive him in. He will walk. So we've got 2 on and 2 outs now for Shanuel. As Shanuel hits that one deep down the right field line, but playable for Tucker. And we go to the second with Messick facing Smith. And that is popped up to the left fielder, De Lauder, for out number 1. Roque Reggio with another pop-up, and that should be playable for Shanuel. And finally, Carlos Correa. Hopefully finally. And it is finally, as Montgomery throws across for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down again for Houston. And Javier will face Torren, De Lauder, and Lara to start the second, as Torren puts that one down the line into the left field corner. So that's extra bases to start the inning for Torren, who is on second with nobody out. Let's see if we can keep the bottom of our order hot here, as De Lauder will come to the plate and put that one in the gap, staying hot, and that is going to score a run for us, as that's another double, back-to-back doubles, and we are on the board 1-0. Lara has actually gotten a hit in both of his plate appearances so far, and he will keep that streak alive as he walks to keep the inning going. Let's see if Montgomery can get a hit here in the 9 spot. And it looks like no. He pops up to the shortstop, Correa. But Luis Robert Jr. now gets to bat with 2 on and 1 out. And he puts that one deep into right field, and that is gone. Listen to that horn blow, as we are now up 4-0. That's what I like to see. Kyle Teal keeps the no. He that is playable for Roque Reggio. Thought that was going to make it through for a single. Marte goes after a bad pitch, but we are up 4-0 now. Messick now with a comfortable lead here in the third, as a little bloop in front of the mound, and Messick tosses to first to get him out. McCarthy. 1 second here. Alright, sorry about that weird gap there. Messick will face Jake Myers with 2 outs, and Jake Myers grounds out for out number 3. Still 4-0. Antonacci, and Javier covers first, and he is retired for out number 1. Shanuel puts that one into center field for a base hit. So some nice hitting so far from our guys in the middle and bottom of the order. 4 hits so far. Torin does pop out, though. And DeLauder hits that to right field, but no, it does drop in front of the right fielder, Tucker. And Shanuel goes to third safely, so the single moves him over, and Luis Lara will try to get on once again. And he hits that deep to left center field, but that is playable for Myers, and Lara is retired for the first time in the series, but we are still up 4-0. As Tucker grounds out to Antonacci. And Torkelson flies out to the shortstop. Alvarez hits that one on the ground. And once again, 3 up, 3 down for Parker Messick. Montgomery strikes out. Once again, man, 074 in the series so far. We may have to start Christian Moore over him. As Luis Robert Jr. gets a base hit into right field. Kyle Teal hits that deep into left field, but playable in the foul territory for Jake McCarthy for out number 2. And that ball is grounded to the shortstop, and that is out number 3 for Correa, retiring Marte. So Cam Smith will face Parker Messick here in the 5th. And Smith grounds out to start the inning. Rocchio strikes out. Parker Messick strikes out looking. So, once again, 3 up, 3 down for the team. And those of you who are paying attention, we got a good one going here as Alvarez flies out to... No, not Alvarez, that's Antonacci. Shanuel hits that one, and Reggio does get Shanuel out by a few steps. And Torin strikes out. So this one going quick so far, as Parker Messick will face Bo Naylor for strike 3. McCarthy hits that one into left field, and that is a base hit, and that breaks up not only the no-hitter, but also the perfect game for Parker Messick that he had going. And yeah, that's a bummer, but Messick still having a great game so far, and he gets the strike 3 against Myers, so Tucker will bat with a man on and 2 outs, and he will strike out. So Messick does not allow the runner to score. We're still up 4-0. Strike 3 for DeLauder there. Lara hits a little dribbler in front of the mound, and that is out number 2. And Colson Montgomery once again, see if he can get something going, as that is fly ball to center field, and Jake Myers, come on, let him have that one. Turns a nice hit ball into an out with his defensive prowess there. Messick still only at 65 pitches, will come out to start the 7th, and he hits a fly ball out to DeLauder. So that's out number 1. And that is playable for Teal, out number 2. Cam Smith, that is right to Torin for out number 3. Still 4-0. Phil Matone comes in for Houston, so they are forced into their bullpen. Really, the home run to Teal is the difference in this game. I mean, they haven't scored any runs so far, but that's the biggest difference in this game, as Teal will fly out to McCarthy. So Javier, that being said, didn't have that bad of a day. But it's the playoffs and every run matters, which is why we're glad to be up 4-0. And Parker Messick at only 81 pitches will come out to start the 8th. I think if we get any base runners, we do go to the pen here, but he does manage to get out number 1 here. He's starting to get tired, but with 2 lefties after Correa, I think we will leave him in as Correa hits that one deep, and that one's gone. So maybe a batter too late here for Parker Messick, but that'll do it for him. 1 run on 2 hits. Excellent game. Exactly what we needed after that disaster yesterday. We will put in Ryan Johnson to try and finish this one off. As Bo Naylor hits the 3-1 pitch to the right side of the diamond, and Shanuel tosses, and Bo Naylor is out. So Jake McCarthy with 2 outs here. Little grounder to Colson Montgomery, who reels it in for out number 3. Let's see if we can get some insurance runs here as Antonacci faces Matone. Oh, and that's an error on the... Nope, they give him an infield hit, so Antonacci with his speed is a threat to steal. Let's see if he goes here. No, he watches Shanuel work a 3-0, 4-0 walk. So Torin, who's 1 for 3 today, will bat next. And that looks like it could drop, and it will, down into the corner for a base hit. So Torin coming through with some insurance here as Antonacci comes in to score. They do hold Shanuel at third, but it's now 5-1 here as Estevez will come in next. Houston forced to use multiple guys out of their bullpen as DeLauder hits that one deep and gone. So DeLauder makes it 8-1. And it is looking increasingly likely that we are going to a game 5 here. Montgomery, we're leaving him in there to try to get something going, as he does maybe get something going there with a solo home run. You know, it doesn't really matter that much at this point, but it is 9-1 now as Montgomery finally breaks his cold streak with a solo home run. Maybe that'll be a good sign of things to come here. As Robert Jr. strikes out, and then Teal with another deep shot, but that one is playable for McCarthy, out number 3. Yeah, we score 5 runs. It's now 9-1, and Ryan Johnson now will take the 9th with a comfortable lead. And he plunks Myers. So the top of the order will come up with a man on. And that's through for a base hit. Johnson will face Torkelson. And Torkelson takes strike 3. So 1 out here and 2 on for Alvarez, who hits a weak grounder. They throw to second. But he does get the out at second. Okay, so 2 outs now. Astros down to their final out here in the 9th. And Smith strikes out to end the game. So all in all, not a bad outing from Ryan Johnson. 5-star catch in a game. That must have been, I don't remember who would have had that. Maybe the opposing team had that with that robbery on Myers by Myers. But yeah, that's player of the game was listed as Chase DeLauder, who had an excellent game. Don't get me wrong, 3 for 4 with a home run in there. But my player of the game is Parker Messick. We needed our pitching staff. We needed him to go deep into this outing, so we didn't have to go into our bullpen. And he went 7 1/3 strong innings. I even left him in there a batter too long. It didn't ultimately matter. Ryan Johnson came through with a scoreless 8th and 9th. Yeah, not too much to say other than we are headed to a deciding Game 5 with our bullpen rested. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here, as we will have, as we unlock that achievement, we will have, I think, Shane Smith on the mound for a deciding Game 5 here. A fully rested Shane Smith, nonetheless. Yeah. Let's get into it. Game number 5. All right, Game 5. This one is for all the marbles here. Yeah, not too much to say. We've got our entire pitching staff basically available here for Game 5, as does Houston. They're not quite as rested as us, which gives us a slight edge there. But we are playing at Daikin Park, so Houston takes home field advantage there. It should be a close one. I think these are two very evenly matched teams. We've each got our ace on the mound, Shane Smith for us, Hunter Brown for the Astros. And yeah, we're going to go with basically the same lineup in Game 4. Josh Naylor will be our first bat off the bench, I think, against right-handed pitching. He's still, struggled, and I like what Lara has done so far. Yeah, he provides great defense out in right field, so can't forget that either. So I don't think there's too much else to say. I swapped Kyle Teal and Luis Robert Jr. Chase DeLauder moves up to 4th in the lineup. Shanuel moves down to 7th, and then Colson Montgomery still batting 9th. The solo home run in garbage time yesterday gave me some hope that maybe his bat is starting to wake up, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that throughout the game, and he will be a likely pinch hit target if he struggles again. So let's see if he can come through. Let's see if the rest of the team can come through. It's Game 5 here for the series in Houston. And we've got Kyle Teal to lead things off. And he puts that one into play, but playable for their left fielder, McCarthy. They stuck Alvarez out at first again, I noticed. And that's an infield hit for Luis Robert Jr., who is a threat to steal. Marte at the plate puts that one down the third base line. No play at second, but they do get the out at first. So 2 outs now with the man at second. Let's see if DeLauder can keep up his hot streak and get him in. Looks like no. As that is out number 3, and that's the top of the first here. Shane Smith will face Kyle Tucker here. As my cat has jumped up and blocked about half the screen. Smith strikes out Tucker to lead off the game, and Roque Reggio will bat next. And Reggio gets an infield single. And Cam Smith will come up now with a man on. And that looks like a double play ball if I've ever seen one, and that is a double play. So we have a base runner, but we allow the minimum here. That is the first inning, and we'll head to the second. Still tied 0-0 as Antonacci strikes out. Torin grounds out to the second baseman. And Shanuel works a full count and pops up. That'll be out number 3. So, Brown working efficiently so far. Let's see if Smith can match him here. Been a lot of offense in this series, but I don't expect a ton of that today, as that's an out for Smith. As Correa flies out to center field. And then Bo Naylor. Let's see if we can get him out, and we can, as that's a pop-up, easy pop-up for Montgomery, and that's a 1-2-3 inning. Nice job by Shane Smith. So both pitchers working very efficiently so far. You have to imagine that every run will matter here. Colson Montgomery, we'd love for him to get hot as he strikes out to not lead things off, but that's out number 2. Robert Jr. grounds out to the second baseman, so that's a 1-2-3 inning for the Astros, and not much action here so far in Game 3. Leadoff walk for Torkelson, so Shane Smith does allow a base runner here. And they're bunting, but popped up. So they're trying to play a little small ball here, realizing that every run does matter. But it doesn't work out as Myers gets out number 2, and Tucker now with 2 outs and a man at first does put that into right field for a base hit. But we get the ball back in fairly quickly, and the relay goes to third. Runner is in safely. That allows Tucker to get to second. So Reggio now with a man on second and third and 2 outs. Big out here as that goes over the head of the right fielder, Lara. That'll score 2 runs, as that's a triple for... No, that might be an inside the park home run. Reggio with an inside the park home run puts them up 3-0. Wow, okay. Was not expecting that. And just like that, the Astros take the lead. Let's see if we can answer here in the top of the 4th against Hunter Brown. I feel like we're going to need to get to their bullpen to get stuff, to get some offense going. As Marte strikes out. We only have 1 hit so far in this game, and that will continue as it's a 1-2-3 4th inning. Smith only at 40 pitches still. Will come back out. And that's hit hard, but right to Lara for out number 1. Another hard hit ball, but playable for Lara, out number 2. That worries me a little bit, but Smith will stay out as he covers first base and gets out number 3 from Shanuel. So that is a 1-2-3 inning. Hunter Brown at 60 pitches. Antonacci working a leadoff walk. That's great. We need any base runner we can get here. Let's see if Torin can do something here as they work A double play. Man. Shanuel hits that into right field for a base hit. That's unfortunate. That maybe could have scored a run if not for the double play. Yeah, probably not. Lara, though, hits that one high, but not very deep to right field, as that is out number 3. So we do get some base runners, but no one scores. We head to the 5th as Smith. That one's it high and deep to left field, but DeLauder grabs it. Smith allowing a lot of deep fly balls. And that one might be too deep as it goes into the bleachers. Not the bleachers. Only Wrigley has bleachers, I guess. But you know what I mean. That is a home run for the Astros. And despite only throwing 48 pitches, we need to think about, how long to leave Shane Smith in this game. He's allowing a lot of hard contact. But that is the inning. So Hunter Brown at 79 pitches, you have to think this might be his last inning, as Montgomery works a full count and flies out here. Kyle Teal strikes out on the 2-2 pitch. Hunter Brown now at 90 pitches. And Luis Robert Jr. finds right field for a base hit. So 2 outs now. Brown stays in the game to face Marte, who is our DH today. And Robert Jr. goes for the steal and is successful. So he puts himself in scoring position if Marte can come through with a hit here. And instead he gets hit here. So that'll bring up DeLauder. And that'll end the day for Hunter Brown as Jared Jones comes into the game. It's our best scoring opportunity. One of our best hitters in the series up to bat. Let's see if he can come through. Ball gets away. So runners advance. So second and third now with 2 outs. Great opportunity to score here if DeLauder can come through with the hit. Oh, and he strikes out. So the game will remain 4-0. Shane Smith still only at 55 pitches, but I'm going to let him go until he gets a base runner, I think. Popped up here. And Yordan Alvarez to face Smith. Hits that one into right field for a base hit. So, true to my word, 71 pitches, that'll be it for Shane Smith. We will go to the bullpen here, and it will be, I think, Mizorowski here to bridge the gap. We want one of our best pitchers in to keep this at a 4-run game, and Mizorowski walks the first batter he faces. That's not great. Walks the second batter he faces. Also not great. So he'll face Torkelson now with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And walks home a run. Okay. Walking 3 straight batters. I'm sorry, Mizorowski. That's going to be your day. And we have McCarthy and Myers up now. We'll put in Garrett Whitlock. As Mizorowski just can't find the strike zone. And Whitlock induces a ground ball, but they do score another run, and it's 5-0 now. We need our offense to get going here as Antonazzi puts that on the ground, playable for Correa Out number 1. Torin pops that up and playable for the right fielder, Tucker. And now Shanuel strikes out. So, that is the inning. We'll bring Whitlock back out for the 7th after he faced one batter in the 6th. That will be a base hit, though. So top of the order up, I think now we do just go to Grant Taylor. We need to prevent any more runs from scoring. And Tucker flies that into right field for a base hit. So Taylor now with 2 on and nobody out, facing Roque Reggio. That looks like a double play ball though, and no, just the 1. Double play is still in order here for Cam Smith though, as he puts that into play to the second, to the shortstop, and that's a 4-6-3 double play. Nice job there getting out of the 7th, but we're still down by 5. We need some offense badly. Luis Lara. Will that get down? No. Wilson Montgomery, do we let him hit here? I mean, I guess no one else has been hot today, and Montgomery 0 for 3 day. Just a miserable playoffs for him. Let's see if the top of the order can get things done. As Teal works a walk, so we do have a man on now for Luis Robert Jr., who strikes out. Okay. Alvarez will face Taylor here in the 8th. Little grounder. Oh, bobbled by Antonacci. So Alvarez reaches on an error. Correa strikes out though. It's out number 1. Naylor puts that into play. No play at second, so Torin throws over to first for out number 2. And Torkelson will bat again. And that is playable for Montgomery, out number 3. So, Marte is 0 for 2 today and not particularly good in this series, so let's try to get something going here. Josh Naylor will pinch hit for him. Facing Camilo Doval. As Naylor puts that into center field, but playable for Myers, out number 1. We're down to our final 2 outs as DeLauder will step in. Hit well, but playable for McCarthy. And we need some kind of rally here, as Antonacci is our last hope. Little dribbler in front of the mound, and that's playable for Doval. So offense goes ice cold here, and yeah, that is the series. An unfortunate way to go out after battling back and forcing Game 5. Yeah, Shane Smith allowing 5 earned runs. Not the greatest. I mean, a lot of that, one of those was Mizorowski walking in a run. Not great, despite his 0 ERA, but Shane Smith allowing 2 home runs. Yeah, I mean, and that was basically their offense in this game. Yeah, it's hard to win when you only get 3 hits in the entire game. That's on the offense more than the pitching, I would say. Like, yes, we did allow 5 earned runs, but we scored nothing. So 3 hits, didn't get to their bullpen at all. Yeah, but we did get an achievement for leaving the bases loaded. Yeah, but you know, still a successful season overall. We had Grant Taylor leading the way for us in terms of WAR. He's become a very reliable stopper for us. I think I'm going to continue to use him in that role despite his 40 stamina, which would maybe allow him to start. I like him coming out of the bullpen. Very effective there. We've got a very effective 5-man rotation with Dolender. Well, we kind of still, our fifth guy is a question mark. Hopefully Liam Peterson will take that next step and become that ace pitcher that his potential indicates he can be. But yeah, he did not pitch particularly well at the big league level. Still young, still has growing to do, but that's kind of the hope, I think, is that he will be that guy. And the rest of the rotation looks solid. I think I'll have to get to the off season here, but I don't. I think a lot of these guys we do have. Yeah, Ryan Walker is arbitration eligible, so we should have him back for next season. Mizorowski is arbitration eligible. So we'll need to figure out money-wise how we're going to make everything work, but a lot of these guys should be able to come back here. Iglesias is a free agent. Johnson enters arbitration. Devin Williams, who was our closer for a hot minute there, we will likely let him go. So some question marks in the bullpen. Our bats, Naylor, who we traded for, we still have 2 seasons of him. He had a good season. He just went ice cold in the playoffs, unfortunately. We'll look to bring him back. Luis Torrens was great as our backup catcher. We might look to bring him back if it's reasonable. Yeah, and I mean, Colson Montgomery, despite me harping on him throughout the entire playoffs, did end up having a good season. After struggling to start the year, went for 2.9 WAR, positive OPS 130. Yeah, I just need to get his avoid Ks up a little more, I think, and he should be in good shape. Luis Robert Jr. leading the way with 5 WAR. He's been a great free agent signing for us. Only $15 million, which we do have to see if he'll opt into that player option for next year. If not, we've got a big question mark at center field. I mean, Luis Lara can kind of play center field, but I don't know if I trust him as our everyday center fielder yet. Yeah, so let's go ahead and sim to the off season where I can kind of discuss and try to figure out what some of our next moves will be. Kind of wrap up the episode as we'll see who ends up winning this year. As this was by all accounts a successful season, right? We won the division. We were not favorites against the Astros, at least by record. And we took that series to 5 games. We won a playoff series against the Blue Jays. Yeah, that's a successful season after not making the playoffs for as long as the White Sox have. So, I think next year we would probably want to have World Series aspirations. But this year was all about making the playoffs, and we did that and won a series, so I'm happy with that. Even if it did end in a little bit of a disappointing fashion. So let's sim through the rest of the playoffs here, and then I'll kind of wrap up this episode and lead into the off season. All right, so we are now officially to the off season. The D-backs are victorious in the World Series over the Red Sox. They sweep the Red Sox, actually. Red Sox beat the Astros in the ALCS, and the D-backs beat the Mets in the NLCS. D-backs are a good team. I mean, not too much to say. Are there any former Chase Madrath, who we traded to them? Didn't really do much. He was at AAA for most of the season, but we got Christopher Torrin and Tommy Troy, who has been just hanging out in the minors for us. But Torrin's been a solid player. He put up 2 WAR this season after .8 the season before, so I don't really mind that trade, given what Madrath has done for them so far. I don't think there's any other former White Sox on their team that I can see. Ryan Helsley was not on our team, I believe. Yeah, okay. Off season, some interesting developments. First is that Luis Robert Jr. did void his last contract year and will test free agency. So if we want him back, I haven't looked to see actually what his contract demands are, but yeah, they're pretty huge. And that's not the type of contract that I want to be handing out to a 31-year-old, honestly, even one that's done as well as Luis Robert Jr. has for us. So we'll need to find other answers at center field, whether that's going to be making Luis Lara our everyday center fielder or finding another answer in free agency. But man, that's a rough development. I was hoping he would opt in, but with the season that he had, I don't blame him for opting out, because he should almost definitely be able to get more in free agency. We also had some personnel leave, mainly because I forgot to extend their contracts. Chris Getz, I was always not going to extend because the assistant GM, if you GM and manage the team, the assistant GM basically doesn't matter. They just act as a sounding board for various trades and things. But I would have liked to keep our bench coach and first base coach. I think we should have similar guys that can replace them in our minor league system, but I'll have to look and see. Also, unfortunately, our team trainer, the OOTP legend Rick Jameson, has retired, so we'll have to replace him as well. And then look at this arbitration list. Yeah, that's a bit daunting right there. Granted, not all of these guys are going to be offered arbitration. Guys like Hayden Birdsong, probably not. Mike Vassell, definitely not. Jake Mangum, no. But, I mean, Jake Mangum was a guy that we traded for with kind of high hopes, but he was disappointing for us in limited play time, and then didn't really do much in AAA. Was he hurt? I don't know. Anyway, probably not going to bring him back. But then there's a lot of question marks for players here. I mean, our pitching staff, I think all these guys will probably come back. Grant Taylor definitely. Basically our entire starting pitching staff. But they're all guys that I don't really want to offer long-term extensions to. Maybe Shane Smith, if he's willing to take like a reasonable deal. But like he probably wants, some form of like $20 million a year. And that gets a bit dicey. So Colson Montgomery in his first year of arbitration. We've got guys like Joey Ortiz and Brooks Baldwin who are making $7 and $6 million in arbitration and are basically relegated to being like backup / utility guys, and I don't know if I want to pay that much money for them. So we could look to trade them or just not re-sign them. I mean, Ortiz is kind of on that borderline, right, where he had an excellent 2027 after we traded for him, but then regressed a little bit. Only put up one WAR this season, but is still a very solid defensive player. But we do have someone I didn't mention before, Billy Carlson, our promising shortstop of the future, I would say. Um, like, is he ready to take an everyday role in the major leagues? He's getting close, I think. Struggled in limited time, but put up good numbers in AAA, and that defense is just outstanding. I mean, ideally, we want him to be our everyday shortstop with that defense, and we just need to try to get his offense up a little bit more, whether that's through the dev lab or through just natural talent progression. But so yeah, a lot of question marks in this off season. I haven't looked to see who, a lot of starting pitching and relief pitching becoming free agents, but not a lot of like CJ Abrams as a center fielder though. I don't love that idea. He did put up 5.8 WAR last season. Wow. Um, I mean, that's. I mean, look at his production relative to the years before. Like, 2.7 WAR, 1.1 WAR, and then jumps all the way up to 5.8. Like, I don't know. He's going to demand a lot of money, and I don't know if he could sustain that. And then, yeah, Yandy Diaz, who we had briefly, did not produce for us. The Mariners deciding not to take his team option year. So he will be a free agent. But we already have Josh Naylor. So, yeah, not a lot of hitters out there. Not a lot of like potential replacements for Luis Robert Jr. So, do we look to make a trade? Maybe will someone trade for Baldwin or Ortiz? Maybe for a center fielder. I'll have to look and see what's out there, or if there's a trade that makes sense. We do have quite a few like good starting pitching prospects that maybe if I could get a really good center fielder, I could part with one of them. Max Bayless, who we got kind of in a, I would say lopsided trade for us, for Orion Kerkering, who we were basically picking up off of waiver. No, we traded for him along with Jake Mangum. We were going to try to pass him through waivers, and then he was going to get claimed, and so we flipped him for Bayless and Martinez. And Kerkering, had a very solid season for Baltimore, and is arbitration eligible, but our bullpen was already looking, quite good at the time and continued to be good. So I don't mind picking up Bayless, who just turned 24 and still has a lot of potential that he could realize here. So do we look to flip him? Or Gunther Braindl, who has kind of worked his way up after being an 18th round pick to being one of our top pitching prospects. Chris Levinas, who's kind of been up and down. Like, he's our number 65 prospect through OSA, but has had a regression in the development lab, and then had a 7-month or longer than 7-month UCL injury that took him out for most of the season. So how does he recover from that? But he is only 22. So, we've got pitching depth that we can maybe look to flip. And then, of course, all of our guys at the big league level. But we will be losing some of those pitchers to free agency as well. So we've got guys like Raisel Iglesias, who's a pending free agent, Devin Williams, Garrett Whitlock. Torrens, by the way, wants about $7 million, and I don't want to pay him that to be our backup catcher. So Um, yeah, it's a lot of interesting decisions to make in this free agency for a team that just made it into the playoffs and is hoping to take the next step. What does that next step look like, and how do I get us there while staying within our budget constraints, which right now, about $20 million to spare. I like to go into the season with like $10 or $15 million to spare. So realistically, that means about like $5 million to spend. Um, After getting some of that money back for some of the guys that we're not offering arbitration to, if we look to flip guys like Ortiz and Baldwin, we could look to sign somebody. But um, yeah, that's it's going to be some interesting decisions here. Um, as we can offer Luis Robert Jr. the qualifying offer, I did just realize that, and that's close to what he wants in free agency. I think we will do that, and then at least we would get compensation if he signs for someone else. Um, but yeah, that's it's going to be an interesting off season. So be sure to stay tuned for that as we continue to try to build up this team. Despite a lot of movement here in the off season, uh, we've got tons of guys arbitration eligible. We've got one big name free agent in Luis Robert Jr. that we need to either re-sign or replace as our everyday center fielder. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting off season. So tune in next time for that, and thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Next episode will be the 2028-29 off season, and we look to get back to the playoffs. And I mean, ideally, our goal next season should be not only to make it back to the playoffs, should be to win the division at bare minimum, and shoot for the ALCS and the World Series this next year. So I think this is a team that is capable of taking that next step and achieving that. So yeah, we'll have to see how things go. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time.